Hey guys, what's up? I'm ILLUMINI and I'm here today to show you how to use sidechain compression inside of Ableton Live. So I had actually made a previous video on this, but I felt like I skimmed over it and didn't offer quite enough insight as to how and why we use sidechain compression. I still see a lot of producers struggling with this, so I just really want to offer a better and more insightful video so that way more people can learn what it is and why we use it. So to start this off, I'm going to go over one of the more common use cases, which is sidechaining your kick to your bass, because these two things often fight for room in the lower end of this frequency spectrum, and this is where a lot of resonance and mud can build up. To visualize this, I'm actually going to use this plugin called Span from Voxengo, and whenever we solo the bass and play it back, you'll notice that it's hitting right around, let's say 60 hertz, somewhere in there is that fundamental tone. Now if we come over here, turn off our bass and turn on our kick, we'll also notice that fundamental tone is hitting right around that same frequency range. And whenever these are both playing, they're more or less fighting for that space in the spectrum. So this is where sidechain compression comes to the rescue. The first step to setting up your sidechain compressor is, of course, to come over here to your audio effects and grabbing a compressor. Now to activate sidechain compression, we're going to press this little down arrow. We're going to click sidechain, and now we need an input. Now in some cases, you can actually use the kick that already exists within the song. A lot of times you won't want to do this, but for now we're just going to do it like this, just so I can show you what exactly is happening here. I'm going to use this plugin from iZotope called Neutron Transient Shaper, just so we can visualize the spectrum and better see to what's happening. Also note that our compressor is on the bass channel, it's not on our kick channel. So what you're seeing here is just the bass playing through, and this is giving us a visual representation of that sound. Now if I come down here and I slowly start to drag down the threshold on this compressor, you'll see that the signal from that kick is what's causing this compressor to do its job and compress the sound. This is effectively ducking the bass, so that way it gives headway for that kick to come in. Again, to reiterate, what's happening here is that signal is coming in from the kick and causing this compressor to compress the bass down. This is effectively lowering the volume of the bass whenever that kick hits. This is essentially clearing out room in that spectrum so that way you can still hear your kick, but your bass is not up there fighting against it and causing nasty artifacts and resonance. So this is one way you can set this up, but the other way I actually recommend is to set up a MIDI clip with a kick sample, but the kick sample is actually shortened to where you're getting more of a click. Why do I recommend this? Because oftentimes whenever you are mixing, especially with genres that's not EDM or future bass or electronic especially, you may want an effect that is not quite so dramatic. So let's go ahead and set this up. We're just going to insert a MIDI track. And then we're going to come over here to our kick samples. We're just going to type kick. You can use pretty much any kick for this. Now we're going to bring our sustain all the way down and our decay all the way down. Well, not all the way down, but most of the way down. And of course, to use MIDI, we need a MIDI clip. So we're going to insert that. Your MIDI notes have to line up with the pre-existing kick drum you have in place. Now we have our MIDI set up, and we are just going to listen to this and see what it sounds like. Again, the idea here is to just make it to where it's just a click, so that way that compressor is reacting quickly, giving you a more transparent sound to your sidechain compression. Now that we have our click set up in line with our kick, we would come back to our bass and set it to where the signal is coming from that click. From here, we can adjust our threshold and get the desired amount of sidechain. You will also want to make sure that this click is turned off because you don't actually want to hear it. It's just acting as a ghost signal for this compressor. As you can see, the signal is being released a lot quicker. Whereas if we were to use our kick, our original kick, then it would not release quite as fast, giving us a much more pumpy effect. And that is effectively how you would use sidechain compression on your kick and bass inside of Ableton. Now, before we wrap this up, I actually want to talk about a plugin that I use very commonly on almost every project. This plugin is called Laser from Sweetsonics, and more or less this plugin was built specifically for this purpose. The setup for it is almost identical. You would have your sidechain signal, which is your click, coming into the sidechain of Laser. After you have selected your click signal, you would come up here and press play, and this triangle will glow. And you'll actually have to click on it, and it will use AI to create a signal that will create your sidechain curve. Now we're going to bring our visualizer back up so we can see what we're doing here. The reason I really like this plugin is because it allows for a lot more customizability as far as the shape of your curves go and how much you're actually compressing. You can do things like only sidechain the high, mid, or low part of the frequency band. You can set the attack, hold, and release times of your curve. You can also use this right here to adjust your release. Overall, I'm a huge fan of this plugin, and I find that it often offers a much cleaner result than using the built-in Ableton compressor. If you guys have any further questions regarding sidechain compression, be sure to leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to come up with an answer. Until then, I hope you guys found this video useful, and I definitely hope you can make it back for the next one. Take care and have an amazing day.